the first example that we're going to be talking about today has to do with you have to think about, are we going to be using hard connections to our machines, our pickup points, or are we allowed flex connections? Now, when somebody tells you that they want hard duct connections to their pickup points, you need to ask them why and how that's going to work. Now, it may be that their connection points require a flange to be connected to, and that's a good reason. You might expect then that you're going to have to put a flange adapter on the end, or you might be using all flange duct. Okay, and again, typically you can in fact use those hard connections to those pickup points as long as the proper amount of space is allowed to get all the fittings into place. Now what we've got here is an example. Now I have not drawn this to height, but it is very easily demonstrated. What we've got here is a trunk going back into a larger trunk. And this is our first drop. Each of these is where they wanted to locate a hard connection. So I'm going to show you that here we've got, I believe it's a 14, yep, inch trunk or sub trunk, if you will. And here we've got an 8-inch drop. Well, if I take another 8-inch drop and try to fit it in on top of where they have things drawn and let that connect, we're going to be told that this does not fit. Okay, so if I now look at how much extra room we need, well, basically the difference between 15 and 21. So there's 6 inches that have to be dealt with. Well, for a hard connect, an 8-inch connection moved 6 inches off center, you're going to have some difficulties. So one of two things has to happen. Either they've got to move this, or they've got to have you create a manifold. In this case, it would be a 4-drop manifold. Or if we were to go to Flexos, that solves a lot of the problems. Literally, we could tell DuckQuote to, okay, fix that downstream. And with Flexos, you could certainly move that over the 6 inches that would be needed. Now, if this were a flange connection here, you could do something as simple as having a flange adapter to a hose connection style, and then the flex hose could connect there. Okay, but you've got to talk this through with your client so that they understand and you understand the limitations of and the advantages of using standard versus, say, a custom part. All right, so that's kind of example one. Is we can only fit these branches just so close together, and that is based on the sizes of these entrances and exits. Okay, now the other thing that impacted this is you'll notice that they've asked for a non-tapered subtrunk. Well, if in fact we were to have the system size this, then that piece way out there, that end, would really technically be an 8-inch. And we could actually calculate what we've got. And we would end up with something that looks a bit more like this. Now we would still have to move things out just a touch, but again, the size of the openings on your branches and on your elbows are what really determine the actual length and sizes of them. And you've got to pay attention to that or work out some way to mitigate the problem.